Hello, everypony. My name is Blancmark, and welcome back to Blank File, where I just sit around with you guys and talk about whatever comes to mind. And what has been heavily on my mind lately is this wonderful little game called Deltarune. I friggin' love it. Not surprising, because I also love its predecessor, Undertale, which I have played a couple of years after its release. I think it released in 2015, and I played it around 2017, 2018. And it is a game that hits me in here. That hits me in my heart. It plucks the heartstrings in such a magnificent way that it has a great impact on me as a player, as a person. It's the combination of the story, the emotion involved in the story, and the different characters, the different dialogues, and the way it kind of messes with your feelings and messes with your head, and combined with the amazing soundtrack that really is enhancing everything that's already happening, is just such a rare combination of things that Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale and Deltarune, has mastered. And I love it. I'm getting emotionally beaten the shit out of with every single iteration that every single like chapter that he releases, and it is it's good. It's really good. It's a good thing. I Very few games can do that to me. Sure, there are moments where I'm like, yeah, I'm tearing up a bit, and it resonates with me, and I'm like, oh, I want to do something, I want to help, something like that. Not that no other game makes me feel anything, but none of them make me feel as strongly as Undertale did. And he just continues on that path with Deltarune. I would even say that Deltarune, I'm not sure if it resonates more. I think it does, but it also resonates in a different way. And I'm not even talking about any, genocide route. That is not something I personally like to do. I know of it. I've watched stuff about it. But that's personally not something that I've done. Similarly, how I have not done the snow grave route or weird route in Deltarune, because I'm just not that kind of person. I can't. I can't. No, I can't. Um, so I recently, it's now June 2nd, I think. June 1st, June 2nd? Yeah, July 2nd, I mean, sorry. This game was released on, like, what was it, June 5th or something? This year, 2025. Chapter 3 and 4 were released after a 4-year wait since 2021 on October. Before that, Chapter 1 was released all the way back in 2018, so not even all that long after I completed Undertale. Just as a random, like, a survey surprise, it turns out it was the Chapter 1 demo. It was for free, and you could just, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And I was so overjoyed that it was actually the first chapter. It was actually pretty long. It was actually the first chapter of Deltarune, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It was a complete surprise as well, like, huh? And then we had to wait 3 years until 2021 before we finally got Chapter 2, the full Chapter 2, as as the addition to the demo, another free chapter. And I was like, God, that's amazing. I Chapter 1 was great. Chapter 2, in my opinion, was definitely a step up in many different ways, with memorable characters and just a lot of emotional resonance, even more than before, with the addition, of course, of Noelle, who was, I'm not going to lie, she's one of my favorite characters in the entire series. So, yeah, that was pretty much, like, so far the best chapter that I had played, including the entirety of Undertale, and everything. It was like that. It was probably the most emotionally resonating to me in that regard. Um, Although there were definitely parts of Undertale that definitely matched that, or maybe even exceeded that. probably the most notable thing is that the story wants you to leave Toriel's place, and I'm just like, no, I'm good here. I want to stay here. I want to stay with Goat Mom, like for the rest of my life. Hell yeah. And I was really sad that I couldn't. Like, God damn it, why do I have to leave? I'm so happy. And yeah, and the ending, of course, man. The ending of Undertale had me bawling for like for like a couple of hours. Couldn't sleep because I couldn't stop crying. Yeah, it is very, very powerful. I'm not even afraid to admit it. I'm even tearing up a little bit right now just thinking about it. And definitely the music has a, like I said, the music has a very big effect on that. I cannot listen to his theme from Undertale, Asriel's theme, without, starting to cry. That's really, it's not just the song; it's also what it implies, and it's like, Deltarune is kind of similar in that way, but in a different way. Um, so after chapter two, I was very hyped. Of course, I was very hyped about Deltarune and all the stuff happening in chapter one with the checker, you know, the checker, the checker character. What was it? What was he called again? Just checkers? I don't remember. I don't remember what it was called. It's been a long time since I played chapter one, but yes, that one and all of that other stuff that happens there. But chapter two with the whole like Cyber's world, that theme, how it starts. Oh my god, that was so well done. And then the whole introduction of Noel and everything, that was freaking amazing. So it took us 4 years, but finally here, and I finally ended up. I actually completed chapter four yesterday, so I was I'm still very emotional about it, and yeah, I'm tearing up again a little bit. I'm trying not to cry, guys. Hang on. I'm trying not to cry. Yeah, completed chapter four yesterday. It was amazing. But before that, of course, I played chapter three, which was also new, and chapter three was a little bit different, I would have to say, than chapter two or chapter four. Chapter three felt like a good time with your buddies, um, until things went crazy because, of course, they do. Chapter 3 was actually a very good, fun. Chapter 3 was fun. There were some emotional moments in there, of course, too, because there has to be. But chapter 3 was fun for the most part. There was some lore drops and everything, but it was a fun time with new characters that, for me became some of my favorites as well. Returning like old characters, and a whole bunch of new things that were not present in any of the other chapters, or even in Undertale. So that was definitely a plus. And the soundtrack again featured a couple of tracks that were like, oh my god, right? And a couple of events that are like, oh, what is going on here? So after completing chapter three, I have to say I struggled a little bit with the final boss. Basically, well, not the final boss, but like when things when things went crazy. I struggled a little bit with that, but I got it on the second try. Only barely though, but I got it on the second try. Um, so with that, we end up in chapter four, and chapter four was very interesting for me. It was very heavy on the lore building and very heavy on the story and the dialogue. And it started with a segment. I'm just gonna say it. You can go for the first time in a long time. You can actually go back to your castle town, which is amazing. It's gotten, if you have recruited everyone, it gets upgraded, and an amazing tune plays there. I've already heard like the short like version of it that was released like a couple of years ago, but definitely the full version has been released now, and it is another banger. It is an amazing song. I think it's called My Funky Town or My Castle. I think it's called My Castle Town, but the short version was My Funky Town or something, or Town Funk or something like that. It is a very funky song, and I love it. It is so good. And it wasn't that difficult to recruit every single character available for the town, so that is very fortunate as well. There was a nice sequence in there, and then there's another sequence happening afterwards, which is heavy on the story and features again some unique mechanics, which was very enjoyable. The story takes a very different direction if you're following the weird route or the Snowgrave route. But as you know, I don't do that. So I did see it though on the internet, and it broke my heart. It could well, that's the thing. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's left ambiguous on purpose, and Toby does that on purpose. And I don't know. I have my own thoughts on it, but whatever happened, I'm sure it wasn't good for the person involved. I'm just gonna say that it's not good for the. You can already kind of imply, like, you can already kind of infer that from chapter two, but chapter four really solidifies that it's not gonna be good for the person involved. I'm not gonna say much more about it because I want to keep this as spoiler free as I can, even though I want to talk about everything. I can't do that. I mean, I can, but it's just maybe in a couple of years or so, I'll release an actual video on, hey, you know, this is what happened, and this is this part, and I love that part, or I hate that part, or made me cry, But right now, like so close after release, I don't think that's fair to release a lot of stuff about that. To just outright tell you guys, don't listen to me talk about it. Just go play it. You know, you do have to buy chapter 3 and 4. Chapter 1 and 2 are free, but chapter 3 and 4 also include like the full Deltarune game. Basically, you have to buy that, and then you have chapter 1 to 4 included, and then I'm assuming that's going to be updated to include chapter 5, 6, and 7 afterwards, because there is a total of 7 chapters. So unfortunately, you do have to buy it now. If you do want to play the demo, you still can, but that's only chapter 1 and 2. If you want to play chapter 3 and 4, you have to buy it. It's not that expensive, so just do it and play it, and I guarantee that you will love it. Anywho, so there was this whole long sequence. It was actually fairly long, a lot of talking. A lot of it was optional, but I wanted to see everything. A lot of character development, a lot more, also including a character who's currently not been shown on screen yet, or not much anyway, or barely at all. We barely know anything about that character, and I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. I'm not going to say much, but I'm going to say that the character has a song associated with them called "Find Her." That's all I'm going to say, which includes some hidden references and some hidden stuff throughout chapter 3 and 4. However, after that whole sequence resolves, you end up in another, world, in another dark world, as it's called, as you've been doing throughout the course of Deltarune. And that dark world was actually the dark world from chapter 4. That one was actually the one that resonated with me the most for a million reasons. It's like, oh my god, like everything was I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but it was damn close to being perfect. There were a couple of sections where I was like, I'm not quite sure how to figure this out. I'm glad I figured out some of the puzzles, but um, I will say that some of them was, but it didn't contain anything I couldn't really do or anything that was too difficult. Thank goodness. But just the overall atmosphere, the overall characters that are present, the music and the visuals, they all like resonate. They all like strengthen each other and made it for a very emotionally driven chapter. I'm going to say. First, it was, I guess, if you not don't play the weird route, it's mostly joy, and then with the second part, basically, it gets turned on its head. The majority of that dark world, it gets turned on its head, and it's so emotionally resonant, so emotionally strong. Um, in every way, the music, the visuals, like I said, the characters, the story, the dialogue, how it progresses, how you're making progress through these areas, and eventually um, ending in what you're supposed to be doing, and then it continues into it continues and it continues twice, which is pretty crazy. Different iterations of the same place, basically, with another song that plays after that, and it's like, wow, they created a new song for basically version 2 and version 3, and it's like, wow, that is amazing. And yeah, and then we reach the end, which of course is like, okay, there might be a boss or something. And there was a boss, and it was difficult. It was very difficult. I'm not good at dodging those attacks, but it was very difficult. It is. I struggled with it. I really did. I did beat him in the end, but I struggled with it. And that boss has just like pretty much every other boss in the game has like an amazing amazing song for it as well. Uh, the boss's song is called Guardian, um, on the soundtrack. So go listen to that if you want. Uh, you may have already seen it around, but there's another song in Chapter 3 called Raise Your Bat, which is a really good one as well. And Dark Sanctuary and Second Sanctuary, Third Sanctuary, those are the places that I mentioned. And also From Now On, which is the second battle song, actually. Rude Buster, the original battle song, was if for Chapter 4 is replaced by From Now On or From Then On. I don't know exactly. Which is like a based on the theme of the Dark Sanctuary, or yeah, of the Dark Sanctuary, I believe. Yeah, so that was pretty amazing. And the ending as well, it is a bit of a yeah, you kind of come back from it with a lot of emotional baggage, and there's some shenanigans that happens, and and then the chapter ends on another freaking cliffhanger, very similar to I believe chapter one. Was it chapter two? I don't actually remember if it was chapter one or chapter two. I don't remember, but it in a very similar fashion, where it's like, oh, uh, something that you've seen throughout that chapter, or I possibly have seen throughout chapter four, and it's like, oh, what? I'm just gonna say that it left me. It answered a few questions, and it also left me with a lot more questions than answers that I want to know. Um, Yeah, and I don't think we're going to know for a while. I do believe that most questions are probably going to be answered in chapter 5, 6, and 7. I hope so at least, but it also is also possible that Toby Fox is just trolling us and we'll never actually get an answer to it. That happens sometimes, that's not fully satisfying, but it's like, it's fine. At that point, it's chapter 7, the game is complete, so it's like, it doesn't matter too much. You can kind of do whatever you want. After that, with it, you can create your own headcanon and your own versions, your AUs and stuff, your alternate universes and then whatnot. I'm sure that's going to happen anyway. They did with Undertale, some things are just unexplained, like the whole WD Gaster thing and, all of that. And there's a lot of stuff that is unresolved or unspoken or unexplained. And, in mine and probably a lot of other people's headcanon, there is a way to save Asriel. And, yeah, giant spoiler for a game that was released 10 years ago, Undertale. Yeah. Asriel cannot be saved. But he should have been. That's my thing about Undertale. Asriel should have been able to save him. If I have to play on hard mode but sadly hard mode only exists for like the first like dungeon basically. There's a new battle theme and everything, but that's it. I think that if you play the game through the game first time and then play it on hard mode, then you should be able to save Asriel. Like, for real this time. I really think so. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. But it should happen. You deserve better. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that stuff like that is going to happen after the entirety of Deltarune does release, and I'm sure some things will be unanswered and unresolved, and people will just make their own conclusions and their own preferences and their own like stuff. I will do that too. I'm pretty sure. I'm just not putting it out there like some people, but yeah, you know. So I am extremely, extremely happy that I've played these two chapters, and I'm extremely happy with what I've encountered. Even though I haven't done everything in it, definitely not all the weird route, Stonegrave route stuff. Some of the secret stuff I haven't really done either. I've tried to do as much as I can, but some of it was just a little bit too like, a little bit too much effort or a little bit too much this or that. So the important part I actually did with recruiting all the characters and playing for the game and completing it and blah blah blah, talking to everyone, getting as much dialogue as I can. Yeah. So I am very happy. I am very emotionally invested in Deltarune right now. I'm very emotionally affected by Deltarune right now. I'm normally a bit of a crybaby sometimes, but after playing Deltarune, yeah, Chapter 4 especially, like I'm a bit more of a crybaby right now, but that's okay. It'll erode as time goes on. Got a little bit of a itch in my throat. I'm not sure why. Good news though is that at the end of Deltarune Chapter 4, with the credits, it'll basically say like, well, yeah, you did it. Congratulations, well done. But there's still more to do. Still more to be told. Deltarune Chapter 5, 2026. That's next year. It's already July now in 2025. So at most it's a year and a half until we get our hands on Chapter 5. Of course, it can always be delayed or come earlier or be delayed. I don't think it's going to come this year, but it could be released, like early in 2026. Who knows? And it might get delayed again, or it might get released together with Chapter 6 and 7. Who knows? Or maybe it's just going to be 5 and then 6 and then 7. So maybe we're looking at a you know, 3 year thing, but we get a new chapter each year. So maybe we're getting chapter 3 and 4 now. We're getting chapter 5 next year. And then chapter 6, 2027, and chapter 8, 2020, chapter 7, 2028, maybe. I'm hoping, of course, that he resolves it quicker. That's like, okay, here's like maybe chapter 5 and then, chapter 6 and 7, like afterwards. And it's like, okay, that's everything. He actually has a whole team around him now that he's working with to get this stuff done. So who knows? Maybe. But time will tell. We at least have a tentative release date for next year somewhere. So I am very much looking forward to that. I'm glad we don't have to wait another 3 to 4 years for my next Deltarune fix. I'm very happy about that. I'm very curious to see where this whole story is going because I have so many questions that I want answered and that I don't have. I can theorize all I want, but the fact is that we just don't know. Even if it seems obvious, we just don't know. Theory crafting is one thing. I get it, but we just don't know. We have no idea, right? There's no concrete proof, and Toby is so good at doing that. Like, we just don't know if it's actually something or if it's a red herring, or if Toby is trolling us, or because he trolls us. He trolls us a lot in game and out of the game too. He trolls us a lot. But yeah, you know. We just don't know, and I feel like we will know eventually. The majority, at least, I think it will become clear at some point. But I'm afraid we'll have to wait for that. Theory crafting is one thing. Can be fun. Can be fun to read all that and to listen to all that. But and I have my own thoughts on it. But the majority of it is like I just don't know. I know bit snippets from what I've seen and what I've heard and in game and everything, but I don't know the the full story and the full truth, and I that was definitely intentional that we're not supposed to know yet. Definitely left me with a lot more questions than answers. Some questions were answered, and I believe the biggest concern that others, not myself, but a lot of other people, after Chapter 2's release, they were all about one character, namely Ralsei, being like, oh, he's sus and he's evil and he's gonna kill everyone and he's the bad guy and I've always rejected those theories because it's like he doesn't seem evil to me. He doesn't seem like he's that sus, that suspicious. Not really. Does he know more than he lets on? Absolutely. And if that's no reason to be sus, that's like okay, yeah, he knows a lot more and he's not telling us. Why not? Not because he's being a dick or he has evil intentions. That's at least not the vibe I got from him. And I will say one thing to all of those people who think that Ralsei is sus and there's something wrong there, and ooh, there is something. He does keep things to himself, and he will explain to you why in, I believe, chapter 4. So I would hold off. I would strongly advise you rethink your judgment after you get that dialogue. I believe it's a dialogue in the middle of the actual story, so I don't think it's possible to miss it. So please, please just play through chapter 3 and 4, and you'll see exactly why Ralsei does things the way he does. Why he's sus or weird, as they call it in game. And that is really all I have to say about it. I love this game. I love this. I love these two chapters. Chapter 4 especially was amazing, and I'm so happy that I played it. I did not even remotely think it was going to go in this direction. I have no idea. I had no idea. I had some teasers, some light snippets and teasers of like chapter 3's like world, like Dark World, a little bit. And I guess, yeah, that makes sense, given where chapter 2 ends, it kind of made sense. It's like, yeah, okay, I can see that. But I had no idea about chapter 4. Absolutely not. Like, I had no teasers on chapter 4 at all. I did see some artwork of some characters and stuff and then that sort of thing, but I didn't actually, play through it or actually see any real game screenshots or anything or any story stuff. Not really. The only thing I actually looked up a little bit was for like the Snowgrave slash Weird route because that was a thing I wasn't going to do in my game, so I just wanted to know a little bit more about it. Now that I've actually watched a video about it, a couple of days, like last week or so, I think, the week before that, I'm not entirely sure. I saw a video about it and it's like, oh, it feels wrong. I was like, no, no, no. Are you kidding me? Uh, my heart. It sucked. It's like not like oh this game sucks or this chapter sucks. No, that is the implications and everything. Even after Toby kind of edited that one scene to make it look less like one thing and more like another thing. I don't know. It's like I said, it's not like bluntly displayed or like said or described, but mm, mm, mm. Like I want to talk about it, but I can't because spoiler territory. Let's just say that Toby Fox has no mercy for his own characters. He does not have mercy for his own characters. As long as it serves the story, he's fine with it, and maybe not fine with it, but he's okay with putting that in his game. Let's just say. And that is not nothing new because he did stuff like that in Undertale as well in the genocide route. It is you're perfectly able to play the entire game killing every single monster that you find on the genocide route and then eventually having your ass handed to you by Sans because you know you deserve it, and he's absolutely right. And yeah, but I would say that he is probably not above. Given that as his history with Undertale, I don't think he's above killing off other characters in his story of Deltarune at some point. Whether or not it's already happened, I have no idea because I don't play that route. But um, there is a possibility that it's going to happen. A very, strong possibility, I would say, because you are basically on that genocide route, even though it's not called genocide. It is a dark path, and dark things and disturbing things happen on the dark path. And not that this game is all like depression and feelings and crying. There's also a lot of humor in it still, and a lot of fun and a lot of joy. Because you can't have a game that's just sad. It's like a good combination of the two, and I really like that about it as well. So yeah, I will be listening to a lot of the music, and probably I might even replay it at some point. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm definitely going to watch one of the other Gap chaps play it as well. Already started into chapter 3 a little bit, and we're just gonna play through it. So I'll be watching them play through it, and so it's a slightly different experience, but still fun. And yeah, and just patiently wait for it for chapter 5 to get my next Deltarune fix. I'll probably be just as excited about chapter 5. There's certain things in the story that are going to happen, and I'm like, oh, I'm really curious to see how that's going to turn out. But we shall see. Right now, I have nothing concrete, and I have no idea where the hell this is going. So yeah, let's just say that I'm excited to find out. So if you haven't yet, please, and this game sounds interesting to you, please just purchase it on Steam or whatever other platform you want to play it on. Just do it, play it, enjoy it. If you liked Undertale, you'll like Deltarune as well. If you like emotionally driven, emotionally heavy, uh, both good and bad role-playing games with different mechanics than normal, namely just like an Undertale, you can spare your enemy, which is the good route, whereas killing everything is the bad route, basically. If you like that sort of thing, I mean, yes, its graphic style is pixelated, but it definitely looks a lot. It's designed like that on purpose, and like by design, so it's not like a limitation of the times like back then. But it's actually done so on purpose, and it actually looks really good even for its pixelated nature. Animations are amazing. The environments and the music especially. Oh my god! Even if it's just for the music, just play Deltarune, play Undertale, play all of it. It is amazing. It is an experience. It's not just a game; it's an experience, and one you should definitely experience if you have even a remote interest in anything like this. Then again, if all you play is like Call of Duty, then and that's all you give a shit about, and you're probably not going to give two shits about Undertale or Deltarune. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. 100%. I would definitely recommend it. Just beware that you, if you're anything like me, you're going to want to know what happens next, and the wait is just the hardest part. But it'll resolve itself. It'll come in time. It'll happen. We'll we will get chapter 5 and 6 and 7 at some point. So hang on. Or if you want to, you can wait until the entire thing has been released and then play it, which is also a very valid thing to do. Although avoiding spoilers for that long is probably going to be a little bit difficult, especially around the time of a new chapter release. Strangely enough, I'm not following anybody on YouTube myself that is playing it. So yeah, I don't know. Anywho, with that, I think I'm going to end my video. I've been yapping about it for like half an hour already, and I tried my best not to say too much about it. I really think you should experience it rather than me talking about it. I'm just going to say that, yeah, like I said, I love it, and I hope you will as well. And with that, I'm going to end this video. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. I should go. Probably have a little cry because it was an experience. All right.